Greetings, Darklings, from across the interwebs. It is once again I, Precious Ken, the Duchess, coming to you for the Sounds and Shadows podcast. And I have with me my friend, compatriot, and associate, Miss...
It is I, Katy.
Okay, we have an incredibly exciting guest today. This is a band that, to me, is on the cutting edge and one of the biggest names in dark wave post-punk, but that I think doesn't always see as much traffic in American audiences. And the things that they are doing in Europe are really influential to this entire scene and important. And so we're excited to have Ash Code here with us today. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
I'm really stoked to have you guys here. I'm a huge fan of the band and really just enjoy hearing your entire catalog. And I want to start out to give a chance to introduce you maybe a little bit to our audience. Can you tell us about how this project started and a little bit about your history of how you became Ash Code?
Okay. We started in 7 years ago, probably, yes. 2013, yeah, it was in December. I had the previous band, and I had a few demos that I liked, but the other members didn't like them. And I tried to complete them alone at home. But I had some problems on the melodies, on the synthesizers. Claudia helped me to complete these two songs. One of them was Dry Your Eyes, and the other one was Unnecessary Songs. And but we completed them, and we put them on SoundCloud at that time as a game, without caring too much.
Sure.
But in few days, we got a lot of positive feedbacks from friends and some DJs. Then we thought, okay, probably we have to make a real band. And we asked to my brother, Adriano, to join the band, and Ash Code started. So we made it at the beginning as a game, without without caring too much. But it was a very fast process, because during the first 2 weeks we got an invitation to open for a big act from a local promoter. We didn't know about what was the act, and we discovered it was She Passed Away. And
wow.
In 1 month we wrote Oblivion, because we had to open for She Passed Away. And for us it was very easy to write that song. So we said, we can make an LP in 4 weeks. It's very easy, but it's not very easy, because
no,
we were very happy to make something new. But for the second and the third LP, it was a little bit more difficult, because we didn't want to recreate the same structures, the same sounds, and the same melodies. So every time now it's a little bit more difficult to create new songs.
Sure, yeah. I mean, you always have to be growing. And I think we're going to talk about, near the end of the interview, the newest single that you've just put out. Well, and I think that the evolution of your sound has been progressive and always adding new elements. So that is something that I rather enjoy, and I'm glad you got into. Katy?
So Italy was one of the most affected places when the pandemic started. How did that inspire this new album?
We were working on a new LP in January 2020, and this situation was very, very hard for us, because people didn't know how to relate with other people. Everyone was scared by a relative of a friend, and the fear was the main feeling of the. In Italy was probably harder because we were one of the first.
Yeah.
We had to face this situation, and that's why we decided to make a song about fear. But at that time, when this very bad situation started, we were working on a new LP. We had 8 or 9 songs, and this virus destroyed our plans. A lot of gigs were canceled. We had a new USA tour canceled, Latin America tour canceled. We focused on live streaming events on
Yes.
say on Facebook or other platforms. As the begin as Ashcode, we made the first one. It was very good. We raised 2,000 euros for a local hospitals. Then
Yeah.
we made other events called Golficat festivals, and we raised other money for people or animals, Red Cross, and we focused the first weeks of this pandemic situation only about live streaming events. Then we arrived in June, and we listened to the songs we had, and we said, okay, probably they don't fit the reality in this moment.
Sure.
It's better to write something new, something fresh. And we made as a first Fear, then Indifference, and Cross the Waters, another song that is very important for us. We wrote it, the lyrics was written in Venice Beach in Los Angeles, a place we loved, but with a lot of contradictions, because it's a touristic place, but with a lot of homeless and poor people,
Sure.
and it's very bad. You can see the very rich people and very, very poor people. Something
Yeah. Huge
very,
disparity.
very sad. I found the place very sad, and the song is very sad. So, in the summer, we decided to write something new, but only 3 songs, and then we asked to some friends for some remixes, and we decided to put out an EP now, waiting for the reopen or to tour again, to play to play to support a new LP. We are waiting for a new tours to make something bigger.
Yeah, that was actually going to be one of my follow-up questions was reading up on this new album. You said that you had to trash that old LP, and I was curious if you were going to be using it in the future.
Yeah, some songs now are not very good for us, but we are going to use some melodies or some structures.
Awesome.
So basically, the songs are not completely trashed, but something will be used in the future.
I really like hearing that. And I think that's interesting. It's something I've never thought about before, but having the awareness, the world awareness to think to yourself, we wrote this album with the plan of releasing it into this world, but the world has changed. And these songs that we would prefer don't speak to who we are in this moment or what's happening. And I think that's a great amount of self-awareness and really cool, in a conversation that I've never really thought about or having with bands before, of trying to really think, how do the songs that I'm putting out into the world actually impact and relate to the world, rather than just me releasing whatever is on my mind or in my heart and let the world work around me. So that is a really cool and interesting concept.
Thank you. And the songs are very important for us. We don't want to make songs only for DJs to dance in a club.
Sure.
Okay, probably a concert or a night at club is a happy moment for the people. But we try, and it's a little bit difficult for us because we are not English mother
Sure,
tongue,
your main language.
but we try to say something. So you know, and in the last weeks, people talks a lot about the racism, the homophobic così argomenti? Subjects in the scene. We have some
Sure.
bands that are not. I don't know how to say.
No, I understand what you're saying. There's a big emphasis right now
Yeah.
on problematic behavior from certain bands and kind of the discussion of separating music from the activities or the behavior of some of these bands. And more it's becoming a case that isn't something a lot of people are comfortable doing. It's they think of you personally related along with the music that you're doing, and so your message that you put forward has to reflect that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Sure. And I agree 100%. I think that's important. And you brought up a minute ago the Gothic Cat cast that you guys were doing, and you were one of the first ones I really saw perform and do that really well with the cameras and in your
because we had lockdown probably as the first in Europe. Then I told immediately I want to do something at home in live stream, and I started to say to the other, we have to do it, and we made it after 2 weeks. But in my opinion, we had to do it immediately.
Sure.
And the numbers at that time was numbers were very high.
It was
and
huge.
The first Gothic Cat was huge, because after our concert, I said to my brother, now it's time to call all our friends from the scene and ask them for one song, because we know almost every band. We share the stage with the biggest ones, and my brother make merch for other big one. So we we know almost everyone, and Gothic Cat were big. Probably now people want to go out again to a real concert. So
we all miss that.
live streams. I don't know if they have a future, but
I hear you saying that, but I'll be honest, I wasn't sure how live streams would feel or would go over. But your concert in particular, when you did the first Gothic Cat, I saw you perform live there, and I realized how hungry, even at kind of the beginning of the pandemic already, I was for missing live music. And getting to see you play like that, I felt that connection and felt that energy again.
Yeah, it was
I was very isolated and lonely. And so it felt incredible to see you guys play and have that interaction. And I hope, for one, that we keep doing some of the streaming, because there's a lot of bands like you that maybe me here in America, I might not have as much of a chance to see live. And getting to do that streaming show, you can reach so many fans all over the world. And in your case, doing it for a good cause and for charity. And I think that that's important. And I hope that work keeps up. I hope you guys keep doing it.
Yeah, today a new Gothic Cat was announced. I don't know if you saw the flyer. This time is not for a charity, but to make the Gothic Cat real, because we had contact with the local promoters in USA and in Europe, and a lot of promoters want to make Gothic Cat real, to make a real festival. So we are trying to make a crowdfunding, to support this.
That would be incredible. I am very excited.
Let's see.
Yeah, hopefully. Katy?
So I just want to follow up one last question about your most recent release. If you were to have one takeaway that you really want your audience to know, what would you want people to take away from this album?
We want to help people to not feel alone. It's the main thing about this release in particular, because it is focused on fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I think is the main thing. We wrote these songs, these 3 songs, because they are only 3 songs,
Mm-hmm.
with this hope, with this desire.
To
That's
connect
awesome.
ourselves with our audience, because we miss so much our audience. So we try to find a connection with them.
Beautiful. I'll go back in. Our page, Sounds and Shadows, is a music review page. So I always like to ask guests, especially you. I mean, you've said you've played with everybody. You've had Clan of Zymox do a remix on, your latest album. I mean,
Yeah.
what are some bands, and in particular, I'd love to hear if European bands, if you have some that you're listening to right now that you're excited about.
I can say Agents and Grinder. And,
Yeah, very cool. I love their
yeah.
saxophones.
Yeah.
I want to bring saxophone back to more post-punk dark wave music. I'm beating that drum
Actually,
hard.
they use it only in one song,
It's true.
but the
a
song
banger.
is perfect. For me, it's
that
the
song is a
perfect song.
banger.
It's perfect.
Yeah. I really love them, and they are our close friends. And Schoenwald, they are Italian, and they
What's
are
the band again?
Schoenwald.
Schoenwald.
Yeah, and they are really cool, and they are Italian, and they are our close friends too. And also we really love Hunt, the side project of Hélène de Souris,
Yes.
from
A
Minute
Hunter.
Machine. Yeah, Hunter.
Yes.
And she's really amazing.
She's so cool. Every time I hear her sing, I think to myself, this is a person just with her voice that's too cool to hang out with me. Like, she is just so effortlessly, her voice just sounds so like chic and like, beautiful and smoke. And I just think to myself, if I just even saw her, I'd hide in, you're just too cool to be in the same room as me. I just have always loved her music that way. You guys have a little of that factor too. You have that ultra European chic, cool look that goes along with your music. That
I would have to agree. You guys are cool as cool gets. I don't know. Looking at pictures of you online, I'm like, I can't believe that we're going to talk to these people. Oh my God.
Thank you, but it's not true.
That's fair. But the important thing is you're pulling it off. So it doesn't have to be as true that you're just pulling it off. Katy?
Okay, so I actually have a question that a fan asked. She was wondering if we were to rewind back to the Post-Human release. She was asking, what was the inspiration for the track Alone in Your Dance?
Okay, Alone in Your Dance is about a love story that ended badly. So talks about loneliness, but I think it talks about also strength, because sometimes loneliness is strength.
Yeah, I really could connect with that track as well. For like those reasons, I felt like it was very much about a breakup, but it wasn't like the pessimistic, broken-hearted type of thing. Like it made you walk away feeling like everything was going to be all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You want to go again?
Okay. Let me see how many questions I have left. Okay. So the lockdown in Italy has been different than the lockdown here. We've been able, like, I've been back at work and we've been able to go to the store, and in the States and stuff, we've even been able to hang out in outdoor spaces as long as there's like a maximum. But there have been a lot of hobbies that we've gotten into as well when the lockdown was a little bit more strict. Have there been any activities that you've gotten into outside of music creation during this last year?
Sorry, I didn't get everything because we had a
Okay.
problem in connection.
You
Okay.
cut out a little, Katie, but what she was saying is, are you doing any kind of, did you take up any new hobbies or activities or things to occupy yourself while you've been in lockdown in isolation?
Actually, we have regular works too.
Mm-hmm.
I work in a radio, in local radio, so it was very useful for me to go out during lockdown because I could, and it was very good to continue to work and to go outside.
Sure.
And for Claudia, probably it was a little bit more difficult because you stayed at home. And as I said before, we focused on live streaming events, and I tried to improve as a musician, and with the other trying to get other skills like the video editing and photo editing, and because we had the time.
Sure. That's a great question I'd like to follow up with, because I really enjoy your music videos and the ones you put out. Again, I think they just have this really cool aesthetic and look to them. And who is it that shoots your videos? Do you do them yourselves, or do you have a director that you work with that shoots your videos?
Usually we work with a guy, a dear friend of us. It's called Helio De Filippo.
Mhm.
And every time we try to find a good idea. Sometimes we make some clips by ourselves, like Empty Room, our second single.
Yeah.
Was shot by us in Berlin with a very cheap camera, and then he edited the clips. And the Posthuman too. Posthuman was made in Berlin with the girl who is on our LP covers, Sandra, the girl, the Polish girl and the Polish artist. And I sent the clips to Elio. So it's not important for us to work with the director always in a very professional way.
Sure.
If we have an idea, the most important thing is a very good idea, and it's very difficult to get one good.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think your videos do a good job of just that. Helping, your song is telling a story, and then you're making a video on top of that that helps expand on that story. And so no, that's Ricky. And I'm glad, because I think that having that personal involvement and touch beyond just having a director have his idea of what your song is so important.
Yeah, we have this guy that we are very connected. When I watch a movie, I have an idea. I write to him immediately, and we are always in connection. So that's why we made 12 videos. We worked only with him, and in the future we will work. We made only one video. This is video that was made by Sally Dia, a girl, a Swedish girl that lives in Berlin. And I don't know the pronunciation. It's Sally DJ. DJ is written, but I don't know how to pronounce it.
Sure.
Because she's a singer and well known too, she had a very good idea, and she works only with the vintage camera. So
cool.
Take a look to the clip. Is black and white, and it's totally made with vintage cameras.
That's awesome.
It was a particular idea. That's why we worked with her.
That's awesome. And I love that idea. And I think that goes well with your aesthetic and kind of, your ideas of band. Is you do have a bit of a vintage or throwback aspect yourself in both your sound, but I think also, the leather jackets and that kind of fits in well. And so the idea of shooting that on actual reel-to-reel vintage camera tape and in the modern era, and doing that, I think, gives a really cool idea and connection.
Yeah. I like the vintage um, tapes and everything that we made as video is covered with digital effects, retro
Yeah.
effects, VHS effects, always. Our dream is to be in the 80s, but with this taste of retro stuff.
Sure. And there's even, I mean, in the video like that, I think there is a difference in look, almost kind of the difference between a record and a CD. There is a difference in a look and a sound to it. And because it's not as sharp or digitally enhanced on the image, it kind of has a softness to it and a humanity and a delicateness when you get actual vintage video that way.
And some of the videos were made, like the last one, Fear, was made in digital way, and the computer graphic is very hard because the result seems to be old style, but to make it, Elio, the director, worked very hard.
Yeah.
And it was hard for him, but then he had the idea to take colors from Andy Warhol's screen printing, and it was very good. It was a very nice idea because he made some tries, and he sent some example of his work, and he didn't focus in the beginning. Then he found this idea of taking colors from Andy Warhol's, and it was great.
Beautiful.
So this is my last question, and this is a little bit of a digression. Do you have any pets? If so, what are their names? And would you mind sharing a funny or the funniest story about them?
Yeah, probably everyone knows we are cat maniacs. Yeah,
Is featured heavily in the
have
video.
Yeah. We have two cats in this moment. One is Dexter and one is Ian, and basically we are two slaves of them, and we work only for them, and we could tell you a lot of stories. One of the funniest one I can tell you is Dexter like to spend all the day outside in the small garden we have, and some weeks ago it was a very rainy day. He came inside the house, and we have a towel to dry him.
Sure.
Because it was totally wet. But when I was drying him, he started to walk with this towel like a king with a cloak. And I made a video and I posted on Instagram. It was very funny. I like it. It was like Lion King. And we are crazy. We are crazy about them, and we can't live without them.
Yeah.
Dexter was sick 2 months ago. It was terrible. We had some problems, and I don't know. You can't understand how much we are asleep. I wake up in the middle of the night to feed him every night at 3 or 4. And I made it every day in the last 10 years.
That's crazy.
Only for him.
Right.
We are on tour away from home. We check them every 10 minutes with the cameras. And every 10 minutes.
We have cameras in every room to watch them.
So that's awesome. I have 3 cats myself, and I know how that is. They're like your kids. They're your children. They're your connection. And I think, kind of like we've talked about during the pandemic, that's even more important, where sometimes, just feeling isolated and feeling alone, but knowing that they come up, they're such intuitive creatures that they just come right up to you and can sense right
They're
when you
magic.
meet them. And then the rest of the time, they could care less. But always when you need them, they're there. Yeah, no, it's very true. And I think that's awesome that you guys have cameras set up to watch them and always stay connected to them even when you're out on tour. That's great.
Yeah, it's not very easy because we don't like the idea to be far from them. But when we went to the USA tour,
Mhm.
we were 2 weeks far from home. When we came back, they were crazy because they were very very sad.
Yeah.
Dexter spent all the nights on me, and they are like kids. Like kids, we don't have
Yeah.
kids now, but that's why we are very very close to them.
Yeah. I understand 100%. I do. And I hope
I want to show you, but in this
that they're
moment
running
they are
around,
in
they're
the
being
garden.
shy.
They are playing in the garden.
I'm kind of surprised none of mine have run in here too while we're in the middle of the interview.
Stella's been trying, but I'm not trying to have her like take over, you know?
Jump up on your lap. So the other thing I wanted to ask you guys about is the vaccine is starting to roll out. Hopefully things are going to start progressing forward towards the world getting back to some sense of normalcy. What's something that you guys have as a hope? Oh, there's me. Hi.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. Hi.
I want to show you that.
Go away. You can continue. Sorry.
That's all right. What's a hope that you guys have for the future? Something that, I mean, like you said, you lost out on, you were going to do an American tour that didn't happen as a result of this. As things get back to normal, what are you guys excited for to be able to return to the world music scene?
Our greatest hope for the future is to return to travel the world and to be able to go to places where we have not yet played yet, like Japan, for example.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, we really love Japan because I really love writers, Japanese writer,
Mhm.
and like Murakami.
Yes.
So I really, really love Japan and Japanese culture. So it's one of my dream to go to Japan.
That would be an awesome one, and one that you don't see as much. I know you mentioned before too that you were talking about playing in South America and going there.
Yeah, we went there in 2017, and we played 4 or 5 concerts: Mexico, Peru, and Argentina. And we had a tour. We had to play last July. Then there we had Colombia and Brazil too, but it was postponed to 2022.
Mm-hmm.
We had the USA tour canceled. We had to play in Chicago at Cold Waves Festival.
Yes.
And we had other gigs with the Front 242 in New York and Philadelphia, but everything was postponed to 2022.
Yeah.
Again. And we were very sad because, a visa is very expensive to play in your country.
Incredibly. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah, incredible expensive. And in that occasion, we had the chance to cover every cost and to make 1-year visa, to make not only one tour, but 2 or 3 legs
of the tour. Yeah.
Tours. Yeah, that's why now we have to wait for 2022. And
well, at least that gives us all something to look forward to. And I really hope, in particular, especially say the Cold Waves Festival, that they do bring back and do the Cold Waves Festival, and hopefully you guys get to be on it because Chicago is very close to me, so then I could go see you, and I always go.
A question: where are you from?
We're in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So that is a city right between Detroit and Chicago. So we're about, a couple hours either way, which is nice because then we can do shows in both or go see shows in both. So yes, but we're in Michigan.
Is it,
Katy?
am I doing this right? It's like right here.
But I can't get it because it's totally white, your hand.
So
That makes sense.
it's a big joke. People that live in Michigan always make the joke when you say where you're from. The state of Michigan looks like a hand. It has lakes around it. So when everyone says, where are you from in Michigan? People go, Detroit, Kalamazoo, Grand Rapids, and you point at your hand, and that's where you're at in
I didn't know
Michigan.
about this.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck. Very cool. Very cool.
So we're going to play your single, Fear, now. And I'd love for you to, we've talked a lot about that one, but one of the aspects you just barely touched on are some of the great remixes that were on this. Now, I thought it was funny. You just kind of were like, oh, some of our friends did remixes. But when you say some of your friends, it was Clan of Zymox, Smolgat Doma, and Forever Grey, three of the other biggest names, and especially Clan of Zymox. I mean, they are a legendary band. What was it like getting an interpretation of your song and hearing it back from someone like Clan of Zymox and thinking they looked at a vision of our song?
Yeah, it was incredible. We shared the stage with the Clan of Zymox a lot in the last years, and we were fan.
Yeah.
Everyone is fan of Clan of Zymox. Then Ronnie made some interviews, and he said during these interviews that we were one of the best of the new bands. So it was incredible for me to read these words, and we spent a lot of time together in backstages. And last year he asked us to make 2 remixes of Clan of Zymox songs. And then this summer I said, okay, now it's time I can ask him to make one for us. He said immediately yes, and we can't wait to be together again, to share the stage with them. We have other 4 or 5 or 6 gigs together to make in Spain, in UK, but everything is postponed. For I can say we are friends. About Molcha Doma, we know them only because we are friends on Instagram. We chat on Instagram, and they are very nice people. They are very huge and very famous, but very nice guys. They said yes, we can do it. They made awesome. We like, and the third one was made by Kevin from Forever Grey. We played with him in San Diego with his other project Belladonna Grave, and it was very good. I like his style. It's one of the best probably. He deserves a lot more, and
very
Remixes is very good.
Wonderful. Well, Katy, do you have any parting questions or shots before we roll the song?
I just wanted to thank you so much for being a part of this interview today. I've been really excited to talk with you and get to know you a little bit better. And probably I will ask one last question when I'm done with this gushing session. But I love your music. I love what you're doing. I can't wait to potentially see you in the future. My last question is, you mentioned that you work for a radio station, and I have Earth Radio downloaded to my phone. So what radio station do you work for?
It's a radio, probably you will not like the music because it's very far from our style. It's a very commercial radio called Radio CRC. It's from Napoli, and it's a very common radio. Not not very interesting for dark wave lovers like us.
Sure.
I'm still gonna listen to it.
It's always just fun to hear. That's one of the things I love that web page is, you know, that you can just hear regular pop radio, but everywhere in the world, and just kind of get a feel for it. So, all right. So we're going to play the track now. Thank you so much for being with us on the interview. It was great talking with you, and I look forward to the world getting back to normal and us getting to see you live and, you know, make that vision I had that first time when I saw you on the live stream to have it in person, and hopefully at the Cold Waves Festival very soon. This has been Sounds and Shadows with Ash Code, and everybody keep it dark, y'all.